I'm not a Cuban and my Spanish is quite limited. Hablo un poco español. For the rest, I have to excuse Luis Carlos, who normally would have made this presentation, but visa problems made it impossible for him to attend the conference, which is a pity. Now I will take over this presentation, and I hope I will be able to explain as much as possible what's happening in Cuba. Now the reason why I replace him, because it's the developments are in fact part of a Flemish-Cuban cooperation program. So what are we going to tell? Not much about fruits, and but about the projects in Cuba, and more specifically telling about this project and the goals of the project, and the developments inside the project on DSPACE 5, and surely about future developments that are planned. When we talk about the Cuban network program, it's a brief EOS program, which is BLIF stands for Flemish Inter-University Board, and EOS for the North-South Cooperation. And we work already for a long time on this cooperation. It's always for long-term projects, sometimes with specific universities, in this case with a network of universities. And the universities are in fact 6 partners: Camagüey, Ponti, Pinardelillo, UCLD, Oriente. And of course, you don't do anything without the consentment of the higher powers in Cuba, and it means here in this case the Ministry of Higher Education. The BLIF Cuban network includes 3 projects, and I already told it to people who were this morning, but this is most of it about the audience, so I can repeat it without really repeating it. So one of the topics is simply about ICT research, and there are in that project some sandwich PhDs where the people will get also a Belgian certificate at the end. But also enhancement of infrastructure, setting up data centers, and these things for Cuba. For the Cuban universities. And what is our interest today is about the 3rd project, about supporting the educational process and the knowledge management in higher education. 6 universities, all distributed all over the country, and working on digital repositories, but not only that. Digital repositories, but 6 universities, as I said, and with the goal also to extend the knowledge to their region. You have UC, University of Computer Science nearby Havana. They will have the responsibility to share their knowledge built during the program, during the project, to their universities and other relevant institutes in the neighborhood. We work with 6 universities. In Cuba, we talk about 90 universities. So there is, we couldn't work with all of them. We had to choose some partners. Now, the network, the project about the research and education and network has the goal to integrate the different aspects. And first of all, one of the choices made in this project is to go for open source solutions like Moodle, like DSPACE, like ABCD, and like FreeForm. And develop an integrated system. Standards, we have heard about it, it's important. Authority systems are also very much important. It's a little bit, you have different spaces where information is created, and one of the spaces is the DSPACE, the research output in the end. But a very important part of the work will be the setup of authority systems. And a few years at the beginning of the project, people started to think to create their own authority systems, managing the authority systems. For example, surely about content, you can use vocabularies like mesh, like agrovoc and such things like that. You can access them directly, but surely in the context of Cuba, where communication can be limited, to have a local instance where all these vocabularies are created, are managed, can be of interest. And they worked on what is called Autoritas, and now it is a sort of virtuoso system where you can find agrovoc, CCS, all these type of vocabularies, which is accessible to SparkQL and can be used in other systems to create a sort of authority system, common language between different systems. Vivo can be a way of handling the organizations and the researchers are uniquely identified. And that will also be relevant in the end for the developments in these fields. But already at UC, the first place, the University of Computer Science, there is a group which has already worked on some developments, of a few tools. I will go through them. This is in the first place the GCP version, which is a little bit adapted to the local needs, and also using, of course, Spanish as a basic language. This is the English one. And here you already see in the administration tools two extra models, the statistical, better the report model, and the certification and publications model. There is also a bibliographic reference model where you can create lists, manage lists of, in which can be of public or private, create bibliographic reference of the document, export them or send them by email. And I go through the screenshots I received for that, where you can see some lists. You can create a new list and add some documents in it, and send these documents, or create a bibliographic reference, for example, or send a list to a person in a certain format. A recommendation model they created, also making it possible to create some sort of alerts, automatic recommendations, and that the items are evaluated on a scale from 1 to 5. And this is shown. Simply some screenshots about that, about the recommendation. It is, he used my name. I'm not responsible for the content of this message. And also, you see here an example about the rating that is the result of the user. Publication certificates. In Cuba, there is a need of having a sort of overview of your publications, which is delivered by the university, and has some extra text in it. But anyway, it's a tool to create your bibliographic references in a document, and so you can create different types of overviews in PDF format. And you can have templates to create these documents. You can give in the headers and the names and for which institute it is, and make a list by searching in your repository, and creating then in the end, first of all, the report publications, and then at the end, having the PDF document available. In the end, they also worked on a sort of reporting tool, and this is based on the Solar indexes, and it creates the possibility to integrate reports of different systems at the same time, that you can do reporting of different, of a network, for example. This is a little bit, it is also, because it is completely separate, the interface, from DSPACE. So it is not depending on a certain version of DSPACE in that way. And you see here a little bit, again, some screenshots. And here you can add, for example, a server, and you have make a report about two servers at the same time in this case, and define the parameters that you're going to use. And at the end, you get at the moment, in this case, a report, a list of titles. You also can use it, but this is still in development for statistic use, for getting statistic reports. Now, future developments. In the first place, all these, the DSPACE 5 is installed in all the partner institutions, and now there is a need to integrate it. But there will be on short term. There will be a Cuban harvester in the first place, but we also want to work further on a better metadata, which uses authority systems, which uses better standards in the metadata. And therefore, we want to use vocabularies, identify uniquely researchers and research organizations, and create the tools to integrate these authority systems in these places. In the first place, we think on creating a rich submission interface which will communicate with DSPACE through the REST API. What do we want? More granular metadata, but also that researchers, organizations, and content through the vocabularies are identified not only by their name, but by, by a unique identifier. And that can be used through Vivo. It can be the Vivo URL, or it can be org ID, or maybe a Cuban org ID. I think that also, like in China, people in Cuba are thinking about using a national identification system. Using vocabulary management tools, their own development, or in the meantime, Cosmos is also available. Maybe it is more interesting to go to systems which are supported by a larger community. Support of automatic metadata creation and enrichment. We think that the idea now that submission starts with metadata and then we add at the end some full text. First of all, it is in many cases only used as an academic bibliography, and full text is not added. We want to put the document in front, and first, when uploading the document, where systems like TCAP and Grobit do an extraction of metadata, wherein enrichment can be done through Crossref, Mendeley, or other systems, and that in the end also, when you have names out of that, also linking to these authority systems, adding unique identifiers will be possible. Another aspect is always surely in DSPACE that you have a rather complicated rights management, because I think at the moment in DSPACE we link for every collection the rights of submitters to that collection. Most of that is the main problem. So if you have a lot of collections and a lot of submitters group, it can be rather tricky if you don't have a real system to manage all them. So in the end, our idea is that it is not that relevant that the submitter has the right to get to submit in DSPACE in the end. It should be on the level of the people who control, which is much smaller group, that the rights are there. While the submitter brings in something in the system, and it's only at the end point that it goes to DSPACE. Surely, if we talk about a separate model. So in a way, it's a little bit small. What we want is something. This is really that people first upload the file, and with the Grobit and TCAP, you get already some metadata. People say, oh, the DOI is missing, I have it, I put it there, and then we click on add metadata something, and then it is overwritten, or you get rich metadata in the form. And also extra information coming from authority systems is added. And some aspect which is also always a problem that people are submitting from different directions, that you have a lot of doubles. We think that's also an interesting feature to control immediately at the beginning. And then it is sent and to control the workflow role, which is also here in DSPACE. And then after that, it can be sent to the repository. The people of UCI have already made some analysis and are working in this direction at the moment. So, in Cuba you see a lot of cars who are still, you think, how is it possible they can drive around still after all these years? So they have the knowledge to make from an old car even the best looking car in the world. So we hope that their input will also help DSPACE to become a much nicer car than what you see on the streets here nowadays.